Hello, my name is David William Weisner, and this is David Weisner Speaks, Episode 3. Tonight I want to talk about peace and why we need to achieve it in this world for each other. This is just a school for souls. God is the teacher. We are his students. I'm going to pray for peace tonight, right now. Father God, who art in heaven, please bring peace to this world. Let us forgive each other for all our sins. We are your children. We'll all make amends. Let there be peace in this world forever. Amen. I ask you every day of your life to pray to the one God for peace. Pray in your own way. It's your intention. I pray my own way. I'm Jewish, but I don't follow that religion to the letter. I follow the words of peace. Now, a lot of religions have a lot of things written in them that are just untrue. Meaning, every religion has come down for thousands of years, from scribe to scribe. It's been twisted. Jesus' message was probably pure in the beginning, but then in the 3rd century, an emperor, he decided to Romanize Christianity, and he just rewrote the books for his own thing. We can't blame him. He had his own reasons for doing it. Was it an evil thing? It was. But remember something. That is our brothers too. I think his name was Constantine, the emperor of Rome. Now, I'm not going to get into every individual religion and its problems, but don't believe everything you read. In all religions, there are some good things, there are some bad things, there are hypocrisies, there are conspiracies. Just trust God. Ask God for peace. Ask God for true knowledge in your heart. You don't need all those books. If you go to church or synagogue or to the mosque, you don't have to believe everything they say. You only have one master, and that is God. Just pray your own way to God. Okay? The one God. It is monotheism. Pray to God. Ask him to show you the truth and the way and the light. Ask him to teach you yourself. Don't believe every book you read. Don't believe every word you hear. Even from me, I try my best. I'm sure I make mistakes too. I'm shooting this video live, meaning I have no script. I have no notes. I just pick a topic and I talk. I'm trying to be as honest as I can and only teach you things that I know for sure. But I could be wrong too. So pray to God. Pray to God every day. God is love in every religion. God is just love. Now, I've lived a very hard life. I'm a patient with a disease called bipolar disorder. Okay? And as I talked about in the last video, I'll repeat myself, I have to, but it was drugs that got me this way. I've been very steady on medication, the right medication, for 11 years. And believe it or not, I'm pretty damn sane. At least I think so. And so do my doctors. There's a lot of stigma around mental illness. It's very hard. It's very hard to deal with. But I just do the best I can. There's a lot of stigmas about a lot of things in this earth. Homosexuality, being gay. It's okay to be gay or straight or bi. There are things in the Bible and other religions that kill people for that. Don't. That's natural. It's a natural thing. Even in the animal kingdom, there's homosexuality. Okay? don't hate yourself for that. If there are laws in your land, be careful. Don't hurt yourself. You don't have to come out of the closet so soon. Especially, there are places in this world that will kill you for that. So be careful. But know in your heart, it's not a sin. Masturbation isn't a sin. God gave us that to us. You shouldn't refrain from sex. If you're a monk and you want to refrain from sex, that's your choice. You're not hurting anybody. But there is something called prostate disease, and many men, I believe all men, need to ejaculate in order to relieve the pressure, even just the pressure of stress. Don't be afraid to masturbate. Don't feel guilty about it. Don't be afraid to be homosexual or gay or lesbian or bisexual. These are natural things, okay? I want to talk more about my life. I started out when I was young. I was a wild kid. My mother had me tested. She said the tester I was about 4 or 5. We just talked about this a few months ago. The doctor said, he's a brilliant man. He's a brilliant little kid. Just leave him alone. Let him find his own way. And I was mad at my mom a lot. I had a lot of aptitudes. I taught myself how to play the piano when I was 5. Not by ear, the way most people do, by writing and the notes. My sisters were taking lessons, and I asked one of my sisters, I said, what do these notes mean? And she said, well, that's the treble clef. It means every good boy does fine. And those are the notes, E.g., like that. And the ones on the spaces are face, F-A-C-E. And those are the notes there. And that's basically the only lesson I ever took. I don't even know how I did it. I was so young, I don't remember. But I played for nothing but love. Nothing but love. Eventually I figured out the chords. I don't even know how. I eventually figured out the chords and the left hand. The right hand, I learned how to read music. I just taught myself. And I was married to my mother many years later because I did have a teacher for about 6 months in high school who told the other students I was a genius at music. And he told me personally that if you had started with me at 8, David, you would have been a classical concert and be famous all over the world. And I hated my mother for that. But you know what? I've given up that. I've given that up. I've forgiven her. I hope she understands. I really got into it with her sometimes. She was a great mother. Really a saint to me. That doctor who tested me was right. Just leave him alone. Because now I became a piano teacher on my own at 28. I was playing many more years. And I have my own style. I became a singer-songwriter. I learned guitar at 27 from a wonderful person, my teacher, and my professor at the college of Staten Island. I took one music class my whole life at the college. It was a history class, and I learned a lot. When I started guitar lessons about 27. I'm not going to name him. Let me just tell you about a great man, a mentor and a father figure to me. He's in the book, okay? He taught me everything I know about being a teacher. He started me on guitar. The man never complimented me a lot. I mean, he never said, Dave, you're a musical genius. How did you do it at 5? He was stern, but he was fun, meaning he would give me an hour lesson every week for $25. The man had 2 graduate degrees. He was a busy man. He was such a saint that he kept me for an hour and a half sometimes. And I'm telling you, sometimes all we did is laugh. What a great man. So I was practicing guitar at that time, and I said, you know what? Now I want to learn the piano. This is years later. I wanted to reach my potential. I didn't want to be no classical piano player on TV or like the great ones. I just wanted to play the Chopin etudes. I was like, I know I could play that. I just want to play that for me. And so I took lessons with his brother-in-law, who was also a very great man, very tall man. He was a jazz player. But I said to him, I'm not going to give his name. I said, teacher, teach me the Chopin etudes. I know I could play them one day. I just want to play them for me. And he laughed. He said, I can't even play all them. And I didn't believe him, and I still don't believe him. He was a great piano player. I think he was just messing with me. And we studied for like, I don't know, 4 to 7 months. I don't remember. And I practiced the guitar every day for an hour and the piano every day for 2 hours. And I did it really intense. I have a way of biting off more than I could chew. And I did. He was teaching me a great song I love. I love Mozart, called Alla Turca. And in this song, there is a part with the left hand, and it had like an octave going up and down. And I played it endlessly, over and over and over again. And then, of course, as I'm apt to do, I overdid things. And I screwed up my hand right here, and I can see the red. Okay. And I was devastated. I was like, oh God, I finally found teachers I liked, and I overdid it like I always do. And more than anything, that was it for lessons for me. Forever. I never took lessons again. Um, all I did, it was so frustrating. All I did was cry and pray. I don't know if I actually cried physically, but I cried inside that my love of music was going to die. And I went to a doctor, a great doctor, and he said he thinks I have a cyst in there. So we did an MRI, which I hated, which was very uncomfortable. You had to sit in a position for an hour with these loud sounds. I didn't like it at all. He said, there's no cyst. I think you have, uh, whatever, I don't know what it's called. Inflammation, basically. So he gave me a shot of some kind of medicine and a steroid, probably. It really didn't get better at all. So he sent me for physical therapy. That didn't work. So I just gave up. But then I was talking to my teacher. I think I just wanted to talk to him. And he said, David, you got to teach. If you can't play, you got to teach. And I said, Professor, I've only been taking guitar lessons a few years. I'm not that good. How am I going to teach people who are going to be better than me? I had a lot of fear. He said, no, don't worry. You're good enough. Just teach beginners and you'll get better. And he inspired me. And he gave me a new life. Because then I had this inspiration that I never had. And he gave me a job that I could actually do. You know, I was on a disability check for being bipolar. And I couldn't get a job because, as I said in the last video, I was arrested in Florida when I was manic for breaking into a hotel room, and they gave me a felony. I had a felony conviction at 19 or 20, which I'm not going to say it ruined my life, but it certainly made it a lot harder. I could never get a good job. I could never work in a bank. I wanted to be a teacher or a professor, and that was it. You got a felony in this country. They don't let you be what you want to be. Okay, so he gave me a job for life, meaning he gave me confidence. You know, you need a mentor in your life. Really, I hope everyone could find someone like him. What a great man. And he gave me inspiration. So I just started teaching people. I put up signs in an Orthodox neighborhood which I lived in, and I started getting students. And I was scared. The first time, I taught a couple of friends first, and I had this feeling came over me. This I don't know, this intuition. It said, this is what you should be doing in life. You should be a teacher. Okay, and I told my friends, and I made them pay me. You know, it was like 25 for a half hour, or whatever it was. And then I had this first student, okay, and she was a very brilliant Orthodox Jewish girl. And I put up my sign. I put up a little sign in a kosher deli near my house, And I said, guitar lessons. And more than anything, I made the date to teach her at her house. I had a car and I traveled not far, a few blocks from my house. And I got there at the door exactly if it was 7 or 7:30. I like to be punctual. I think it shows respect for people. And I knocked at the door until my heart was beating so fast. I was like, "Oh God, she's gonna know I don't know what the hell I'm doing." And somehow, somehow she didn't. I'm gonna calm myself. Maybe she did know I was nervous. And that was my first real student. And I taught her for 5 years until she went away to Israel for college or whatever it was. 5 years I taught her. And she was a great student. And to my great surprise, she didn't get better than me. I just kept learning along the way. And then it went from there. And then um, eventually, I had less confidence with piano because I taught myself. And I, I thought, I don't know if I should teach piano because it's, I don't know the rules. I just play. And I had very low confidence. But then that great professor said to me, he said, I have a friend who owns a school in Staten Island. He's looking for a piano teacher. I think you should do it. And again, I was like, Professor, those people all have master's degrees. He said, they do. But I was like, I don't have any degree. I took one college course in music. He goes, don't worry. He never even heard me play the piano. He didn't. I didn't put the piano in front of him. He said, don't worry, David, you can do it. And I was scared again because now it wasn't my own business. I had to work for somebody else. It was a little building on Staten Island. All the other teachers were either master's degree students or more. And I was nervous again. And I had 8 students in a row. 8 students in a row. The most I ever had in my own business was like 3. And I didn't know if I could do it. Just the energy. The medications I was on made me really tired. Very tired. And so, but I just did it. I said, I got up the courage. I do it. I talked to the man in charge. I told him about my experience. He said, don't worry. The professor says you're good. You'll be fine. So I had 16 students to start with. And that's a lot for me. 16 students, half-hour lessons, 4-hour days, twice a week. 8 in a row. And like bang, bang, in and out the door. And I was scared. More than anything, I was scared about my energy level. I was like, how am I going to do this? But I did it. And I loved it. And I had all kinds of children and teens. And it was such a great experience. It really was. It helped me deal with my shyness. I was able to talk to parents. These students, I loved them. They were like my kids. And it was just a great experience. And I did that for a couple of years at the piano's place until a very ignorant psychiatrist took me off my medication. And then I got manic and insane again. And we can get into that in another story, but so I became a teacher and it saved me. And besides anything, that's all I want to be here, is a teacher. My whole life, I've studied philosophy and spirituality and religion. I've studied with Buddhist master. I'm not going to say his name. I studied for years with a Buddhist master in Staten Island. I studied meditation and some philosophy. I read many books. I basically became a student of comparative religion. I mean, I just love religion. It's interesting. So that's a teacher I'm trying to be today and every day. So please watch my channel as much as possible. If you have a friend who might be interested in it, just forward it to them, ask them to subscribe. It will help them. There's a lot of reasons I'm doing this, but I want to be a teacher again. Okay. Thank you very much. Bless you. Good night.